And a very good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is the 23rd of March, 2026, a Monday. We have some breaking news. A plane has collided with a ground vehicle at LaGuardia Airport. We'll certainly bring you that breaking story in just a moment. First, though, the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So certainly a lot of breaking news we're waking up to this morning, Mike. The first thing, of course, people are going to ask is what was the weather like last night when
hmm
this happened?
Sure. At LaGuardia, the weather had some light rain, but the visibility was 4 miles. It wasn't, as bad as it is this morning. The rain was just getting going at that hour around 11:30 last night. But of course, something that will be part of the investigation, as weather always is in aviation incidents. The rain continues this morning, Ken, and it's this wet weather associated with a cold front that will drop our temperatures from the near 70 where that happened across the state yesterday. It was very warm to finish out the day. There's the rain now coming down quite heavily across the Northeast and across New Jersey. And there's that cold front drawn in the clouds. You can see that shade of white, which will eventually clear out by this afternoon, but really make us feel much chillier. As we take it out way off the west coast, Hawaii picked up feet of rain over the weekend with this persistent flow of moisture over the islands, especially the eastern half. As the big island of Hawaii, you've heard about those record floods, all of this wet weather moving eastward. Places like out toward the west over Kauai, Lihue didn't get as much over even Honolulu, but it's this unusual weather pattern, especially for March, that is promoting record heat out west again, with that warmth continuing into tomorrow as that record heat continues to spread eastward. So can't even catch a break from that heat as the persistent hot weather continues over and over again. So we clear out in the east for the rest of the day, even the rest of the week, as our temperatures are cooler than average. And then going into the end of the week, I think we'll see some milder weather set up just in time for Friday before we tap into a little bit more rain, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. We have a lot of traffic too with the weather. That's why I'm talking with Pam, our director. Pam, let's take the 138 if we can. Sorry, Mike, about that. Uh, but Mike, again, we're talking as you mentioned. The visibility was good. Now you know a lot about aviation. I know. I'm sorry, Pam. If we can go back to Mike, I'm sorry. My confusion that I threw at Pam. When you have a plane on the ground, they are not handled by air traffic control, correct? They're handled by
hmm
ground control.
hmm Yes, yes.
So, so in this case, apparently what had happened, and we're going to get into the story in a second in more detail. Apparently, what had happened was there was a separate plane, a United plane, that reported some smoke in the cockpit. You know very well that is the ultimate terror thing for a pilot when there's smoke in the cockpit because pilot doesn't have visibility on the ground, whatever. That's it. He has or she has control of the plane. This emergency vehicle was going to that flight when apparently there was some mishap with the Jazz flight. It's an Air Canada flight. It's their low cost version, Air Canada Jazz. And apparently that's where the collision happened. And it was so severe, as we will see in a moment, it sheared off the whole front of the cabin. LaGuardia being a very tiny airport, not a lot of room to store planes, but of course we'll get lots more, of course, through the morning. But as you mentioned, we had 4 miles of clearance, just a lot of rain last night. So of course
Yeah.
we'll be getting more information through the day. Mike, thank you very much, and Pam, I apologize about the confusion on my end. All right, let's quickly do some traffic and then we'll get to that story. We have a Garden State Parkway crash, and this one is literally causing 5 miles of delays right now. So this is happening. The incident happened just north. It's southbound, but just north of exit 142, Route 78, Irvington. The right lane is blocked, but literally it's backed up down to about exit 137 in one direction, and even on the other side there's some traffic. So this is going to cost you a lot of time. There's a lot of pockets of flooding from all the heavy rain we had all night. You really need to give yourselves lots of extra travel time. We have a tractor trailer fire on the New Jersey Turnpike right now, and it's northbound north of Interchange 1, way down by the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Oldman's Township. The right lane and shoulder are blocked. And there are truck restrictions right now in the GWB lower level eastbound. All lanes are open. All commercial vehicles exiting at 73 from US Route 46 or Route 4, 995 local lanes stay left and follow the signs for the upper level express. And then, of course, we have an issue right now in the GWB upper and lower levels eastbound Trans-Manhattan Expressway in Manhattan to exit 1B. Let's take a look now. Lincoln and Holland are both reporting 25 to 30 minutes in each. Let's look at the GWB approach right now as we head eastbound. You can see it's already jamming. Lower level on the left is stopped. Upper level on the right is barely moving. We're told it's already 45 minutes in at this early hour, 7:05. Just a few things to mention in Los Angeles. We have a collision. No injuries reported, though. This is in LA. This is westbound at 134 by Cajunga. And there's a traffic collision also North San Gabriel Avenue at West Sierra Madre Avenue. That's in LA proper. Another traffic collision at Santa Fe Springs between 91 and Downey Avenue. Once again, we get to our breaking story. 2 people were killed when a passenger jet struck a Port Authority vehicle at LaGuardia Airport late last night. It happened just before midnight. The 2 dead are the pilot and the co-pilot. Listen to ground control as the accident occurred.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
Frontier 4195 to stop there, please. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000. Jet 646. Jet 646, I see you collide with a vehicle there, just hold position. I know you can't move. The vehicles are responding to you now.
Is the runway closed?
Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000.
Right, 2000, go around, 2603.
Tower.
Truck 2, runway 4 is closed, correct?
Yep, go on to runway 4 now. Proceed on runway 4, you have access.
Tower, car 0, runway 422 is closed at this time.
90, roger. 98. Vehicle 98.
Vehicle 98, please show at this time. Runway 422 is closed. I repeat, runway 422 is closed at this time.
Tower, car 90, LaGuardia Airport is closed at this time.
Terrifying to hear that. When you heard stop, that was the moment when the collision happened, and what you see on your screen. The cabin, the front cabin, the cockpit where the 2 pilots were sitting was literally sheared off the front of the plane. The amount of speed that the 2 vehicles, the fire truck and that plane had to be going was enormous for that to happen. Of course, there'll be an investigation. I'm sure that the TSA is there and FAA are there and NTSB is going to be there. They'll all be checking this out. In the meantime, LaGuardia is closed right now. If you had any flights going to LaGuardia, don't even head there. It's closed until at least 2 p.m., possibly later. We understand 41 people were hurt in this collision. They were treated in local hospitals. 32 have been released. Some are seriously hurt. The collision involved, again, a Jazz Aviation flight, which is the economy version of Air Canada. The plane was carrying 72 passengers, 4 crew in total. So it would have been the 2 pilots and 2 flight attendants. The Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting truck was responding to an unrelated report of an odor on a United flight when it was struck at 11:40 p.m. last night. That, according to a Port Authority spokesperson. LaGuardia again is closed, reopening at 2 p.m. The closure could be extended as police have warned people to avoid the area. This is not something that happens normally. They refer to this as a runway incursion, when you have a vehicle coming onto the runway that is not authorized. The question is, who had authority? Once United requested an emergency vehicle, should the air traffic control folks or the ground control have shut down? Of course, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking. Should they have shut down the runway entirely until that was dealt with and just made people go around? That's going to be investigated, I'm sure. But once again, 2 people are dead, the 2 pilots of this plane that collided with a ground emergency vehicle at LaGuardia Airport at 11:40 last night. Other air-related news, travelers at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport faced a hellish travel weekend. Of course, nothing in comparison to what we just reported. But there were TSA wait lines there lasting 3 hours because of the partial government shutdown forced by many of our lawmakers. Images from America's busiest air hub show the security lines extending into the baggage claim section at the airport. The estimated waiting times there, 153 minutes by one person's accounting. Fortunately, wait times for our airports, Newark and the New York and Philly airports, were nowhere near as long, 15 to 45 minutes. The huge lines at the Georgia hub, though, have triggered President Trump to order ICE officers to be deployed at airports to help clear them. They will assist TSA agents. TSA agents missed their first paycheck last week because of the funding shutdown. Daily absenteeism among workers has soared. Meanwhile, Americans traveling abroad are being advised that they should keep their eyes wide open for the foreseeable future as global tensions mount around the world. The Iranian military issued a threat against Americans and Israelis on Friday, saying Tehran terrorists would be targeting popular tourism havens for Americans and Israelis. The State Department issued a worldwide caution for American travelers after hostilities broke out with Iran. The experts advise avoiding the Middle East altogether and also suggested avoiding Russia and Ukraine as the 2 nations continue to wage war on each other. And if you are in a foreign country, do not talk about the fact that you are an American. He once was a darling of the left. In 2021, Democrat President Biden kept a bust of him in the Oval Office. In 2012, Democrat President Barack Obama established a national monument for him. In 2024, New Jersey's liberal Democrat lawmakers in Trenton passed legislation to make his birthday an official state holiday. Well, now Cesar Chavez, the hardcore activist with communist ties, is quickly being canceled after allegations that the late labor leader abused a number of underage girls and women. Former supporters canceled marches and other events scheduled for his birthday, which is coming up next Tuesday, and yanked his name from streets, parks, and schools, and they repainted murals. And a California sheriff running for governor has seized more than 500,000 ballots cast in a November special election from county election officials, saying that he's investigating a ballot count discrepancy. County elections officials have disputed the claims by Republican Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. California Democrat Attorney General Rob Bonta says that Bianco's move could sow distrust in elections. Bianco said his office launched an investigation and believes there could be 50,000 illegal votes cast. Coming up on 7:13, we'll be back in 2 minutes. We take a live look at LaGuardia Airport. That is an Air Canada jet that collided on the runway last night at just before midnight with an emergency vehicle on the ground. Apparently, that emergency vehicle was going to tend to a different plane when there was some kind of confusion. Two pilots are dead this morning because of that ground collision. NTSB is on the ground right now. Emergency vehicles are there, and LaGuardia is closed till at least early to mid-afternoon. So if you were headed that way for a flight, call your carrier and find out what the alternate plans are. But again, two people dead, the pilots of a LaGuardia-based flight, Air Canada. It was a Jazz flight, which is their less expensive carrier. And that happened just before midnight last night. We'll have much more about this story throughout the morning. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Monday, live in New Jersey and New York. And now we welcome Los Angeles and San Diego at 15 minutes past the hour. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, it's just amazing to see the video of that, the cockpit sheared off that jet. The speed of both vehicles, both the plane and the emergency response vehicle, had to be enormous to cause that kind of damage.
Sure, yeah, especially with reduced stopping capability. You had wet ground as it was actively raining, but the heavier rain took over later on in the overnight, and that's still what's falling now, Ken, across most of the Northeast and across New Jersey. Waking up this morning to a lot of puddles on the ground with that rain lasting probably until about 9 or 10 a.m. Once it clears out, we'll start to get some breaks in the clouds, but that probably doesn't happen until closer to sunset, even late this afternoon. But that dry weather takes over for most of this week, and you'd think with the sunshine, oh, we'll warm back up into the 70s tomorrow. No, not the case. It's going to be chilly again, with temperatures only in the 40s as highs for the rest of this week. Even going into Wednesday, still chilly. By Thursday, that's when we see the sun in the morning and the afternoon and a nice warming trend back into the upper 60s and low 70s. So this rain stretches all the way out into the Midwest, but once it eventually clears, we're back to the dry weather into this afternoon. Tomorrow, a little bit of cloud cover. Wednesday, still pretty cloudy through the afternoon. But with the clearing on Thursday that comes in, that'll be really nice and warm. And then Friday into Saturday, cools off yet again. So trying to make it out of that kind of cold pattern, but probably don't do so until we get to Thursday when we enjoy some milder weather. A lot of heat out west, and all of that hot weather takes over thanks to that high pressure sitting pretty dominant over Southern California. Again, you had a little bit of a cool down this past weekend, but very warm weather takes over there. We'll talk more about that heat and how long that lasts as records can continue to be shattered out in the desert Southwest. That's coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you, sir. 58 degrees, by the way, in California right now, in Los Angeles, 59 in San Diego. It's 43 degrees in northern New Jersey, and we have a temperature of 49 degrees in Trenton. So it varies a lot within the state. Excuse me, getting over a sinus infection of some sort, so please forgive that. We have a crash report right now on 1 and 9 truck route northbound south of Route 440 in Jersey City. Center lane blocked. You could see that. Just stopped traffic as a result. That's going to go on for quite a while, I'm sure. We have a crash reported Garden State Parkway northbound, south of exit 91BA by Chambers Bridge Road in Brick Township. All lanes open, causing a big delay through that area, though. And then, Pam, this is the earlier Garden State shot. If you do have it, this is it. You could take either 138 or 142. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound, north of exit 142, which is Route 78, Irvington, the right lane block, but it's causing a backup all the way down and beyond exit 138. So it's about a 4 or 5 mile backup. Look at this mess. Just an absolute disaster this morning in terms of traffic. Turnpike, we have a tractor trailer fire northbound, north of Interchange 1, way down by Philadelphia. It's the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Oldman's Township. Right lane and shoulder are blocked. And then we have some truck restrictions because of the weather. You have to stay in the upper level, of course, on the GWB. Your Lincoln and Holland tunnels are going to cost you 40 minutes down to Manhattan. GWB's 45. Look at the upper and lower level, how crowded both the upper on the right and lower on the left are. Over to California we go, and right now we have a traffic collision reported in LA. This is westbound on the 134 at Cahunga. And then we have a collision in LA on San Gabriel Avenue at Sierra Madre Avenue, and a traffic collision in Baldwin Park on the 10 at Vincent Avenue. Well, pizzeria ownership is certainly dominated by men, not just in New Jersey, but around the country too. Well, a sister-sister duo in North Haledon, New Jersey is upsetting that apple cart. Their pizzeria called Spinaccio on Sycamac Road in North Haledon opened in June of 2019, became a neighborhood favorite. In fact, so much so that Dave Portnoy, the guy who does all the online pizza tests, he came in February and he fell in love with their pizza. Not only are the two people who own and run the place not your typical pizzeria owners, two sisters, and if I might add, and not sound sexist, quite beautiful, they're also not Italian. That's right. Perish the thought, a pizzeria owner who's not Italian. Their family hails from right across the Adriatic in gorgeous Albania. Let's say good morning to sisters Zana Kaloshi and Ardiana Gashi, owners of Spinaccio Pizzeria in North Haledon. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Ken.
All right, I'm going to tell you, when our friend Anthony first reached out to me and told me about your pizzeria, said, we got two women who run this pizzeria. I'm going to say, I expected a grandma with a mole over here, some hair coming out, who's talking like this. Then I see two beautiful ladies like you. My family used to own pizzerias, and I know how much work it is. And I'm saying, how the heck do you do it? Because you not only run a pizzeria, you run a pizzeria that's critically acclaimed as one of the best in New Jersey. Tell me, how'd you start this?
Well, good morning, by the way. Basically, we grew up in the restaurant business. It's always kind of been a part of our lives. So we've been around it. Spinaccio just started out, as a dream between us. So we just wanted to, take everything that we learned growing up and create something of our own. And we kind of went all in.
I love it, Zana. My family is Italian and Argentinian. Whenever we go, some of our favorite restaurants, with two of them specifically in Westchester County, they're Italian. I put in air quotes, Italian restaurants run by and cooked in by Albanians. What is it about Albania that you guys could take Italian cuisine and outdo Italians with it?
You know what? It's like we combine our cultures, we put our flavors together. So it's just with the Albanian background, it just feels so natural. It's something that it's always been a part of our lives. So we try to, combine everything together and make something special.
And by the way, Albania has some of the most beautiful beaches in all of Europe.
Oh, it's
Anybody hasn't,
gorgeous.
and it's affordable. It's
Yep.
still one of those affordable gems. I shouldn't tell people that because then they're all going to go. We don't want them all to go, right?
It's
So
okay. Come
Dave,
on over.
I'm sure you have relatives who'll take everybody in and cook for them. So
Oh,
Dave
yes.
Portnoy of Barstool Sports came in. First of all, did you know he was coming, or was that just a shock?
Actually, we did not know anything that he was going to be coming that day or any day, to be honest. We were just talking about him about 30 minutes before that, and all of a sudden he just shows up, and we were just truly in shock. And I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, did you order? Like, what's going on here? He's like, yeah, I ordered. And I'm like looking at, where's the pizza? And all of a sudden the pizza was inside the oven, obviously, but we just have to cook it to perfection to the way he likes it and hope that, he'll like it and give us a good score. And thank God he did. And here we are
worked out.
today. He was 8-1. It
He
worked
gave you
out
like
great. So,
an eight. What was it, like an 8 point something? Didn't he give you one of the highest scores in New Jersey?
Yes.
I don't know if it's the highest score in New Jersey,
No, it's
but we
one
are
of the
up there.
highest scores. We're up
Yes.
Wow.
there.
You guys are among the top 10 of any score of New Jersey pizza that Dave Portnoy has issued. That is enormous. And I have to ask, what's it like working with a sister? Because my brother and I used to run my dad's pizzeria in Hartsdale, which is near White Plains, and there were times when we used to throw bags of flour at each other. So tell me, what's it like? We used to, the big 50-pound sacks of flour. My brother used to hurl it at me. What's it like? Do you ever get on each other's nerves, or do you just live and let live?
You know what? Me
Actually,
and my sister,
yeah,
go ahead.
no,
Go
no, you
ahead.
go ahead.
So,
Honestly, me and my sister are very different when it comes to these things. She's very traditional, and I'm a little more modern. So we kind of put our ideas together and we make it work, So we know each other. We know when to back off and when to, keep going. So we know how to work it.
That's fair and that's honest. I appreciate that. So now, what is it like being two women in an industry that is so male dominated?
At first, we don't focus on that part, to be honest. We focus on the business, the product, and the experience that we give people. And when you do that consistently, everything kind of falls into place. At the end of the day, it's about the work, and that's what brings a lot of respect. So we try not to
I
focus on
love it.
that.
I love it. And our friend Anthony Pizzi just texted me to make sure I let everybody know you guys finished second out of 19 other shops, mostly dominated by men at the New Jersey Pizza Jam event in Toms River in September. Congratulations on that. I mean, New
Thank you.
Jersey, honestly, I'm born in lower New York State and I went to high school and college in Manhattan. I think New Jersey has
Mhm.
superior pizza. I think
Yeah, we
I know
do.
New Yorkers are going to kill me. I think we have superior pizza. And there are, let's put it this way. I'm sure there are some that aren't that good, but I haven't encountered it yet. I find that it starts at excellent and then it goes up to superior than excellent. So if our friend Anthony Pizzi is ranking you guys up there, that says a lot. Dave Portnoy clearly agrees. So now when you come into work each day, and you started this in 2019 on your own, when you come into work each day, do you have visions of something changing? You want to expand this, or do you just love what you're doing and just want to keep your nose to the grindstone and keep doing it?
To be honest, right now we are at a place where we grew and we're actually growing. Eventually, we always had a dream of making Spinaccio a little bit bigger than it is, but that will come with time. So we're just taking it day by day and just seeing where we can go from here.
Well, clearly you know what you're doing, and this is in honor of Women's History Month. We have you being featured today with a women-owned pizzeria. I love the fact that you are women who run a great and successful business in New Jersey, and you make us proud. What's a website for Spinaccio?
SpinacioPizza.com, but also we're very active on Instagram. So you can always go there and see our food, our story, and everything that we're building.
I love it. Zana Kaloshi and Ardiana Gashi, owners of Spinaccio Pizza in North Halden. Thank you for coming on this morning. Continued success to you.
Thank
Have
you
a
for
good day.
having
Thank
us.
you.
You too. 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, if you're a dog lover, be warned, today's National Puppy Day, and we have some faces you need to see. We're back in 2 minutes. Morning, it's 30 minutes past the hour, Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Of course, Mike, the big story that we're staying on top of, pardon me, is the breaking news of the deadly flight accident, or plane accident, I should say. They weren't in the air, but it was an Air Canada flight at LaGuardia, and 2 pilots on that plane were killed. We'll have that story at the top of the hour once again. That happened as an emergency vehicle was rushing to another plane at LaGuardia and collided on the tarmac with the Air Canada jet, again, shearing off the cockpit and killing those 2 pilots. You were saying last night the weather at LaGuardia pretty intense with the rain.
There was some rain falling, yes, with the winds light, visibility reduced, but to 4 miles. So remember, as a plane lands, it's even with a little bit of rain, it's a lot of rain on the windshield, reducing visibility even further. So when we report visibility from the weather station, that's just a straight line view, not including any of that rain that would have been hitting the windshield. So weather always a big part of any aviation investigation, and will be a big part of this one, certainly, as there was weather happening. That's what the radar shows even last night over there at LaGuardia. As the rain started getting going just after sunset, you can see roll of that wet weather pushing on through. There's still more that comes through for the rest of this morning across New Jersey, that in through the overnight, and the rest of the day featuring some clearing once we get into the afternoon. I think that'll eventually clear things out as we welcome in the first week of spring. And with that comes seasonal allergies. So the tree pollen sufferers, you'll start to feel that over the coming days as we get a little bit of a reset with the rain falling this morning. And then we're right back to some more pollen as the week goes along. Big heat out west continues. And this hot weather is actually helping to keep all of that rain over Hawaii after almost 2 feet of rain fell across the Big Island. That's the system that's out in the Pacific there, producing all of that wet weather, and the high that moves eastward, blocking any of that cooling effect to occur down in Southern California. That heat stretching all the way up the California coast. All of that rain stays over Hawaii this week. So eventually see a cool down once we get into later on this week. The marine layer trying to make its way back into Southern California, but having a hard time to do so, as it's probably going to be record-setting heat additionally for the rest of this week. And we're still looking for spring as the remainder of this week stays warm right throughout Thursday into Friday, going on into the rest of the hot weather as it's like summertime there, and a little continuation of winter here out on the East Coast. So clear sky out in Southern California again today as that weather remains hot and dry. East Coast still a little cloudy, Ken. We'll talk more about our warm-up in New Jersey once we get into Thursday time frame. The numbers look very nice. That's coming up in a few minutes. Hey, do we have puppies coming up? Because I see puppies
We
here in the
do.
corner of my screen.
We do. You just have to
That'll
just
put a
calm
smile
down,
on your
young man.
face.
You have to calm
Okay.
down, young man. We have puppies, but we'll get to them in just a second. But yes, we appreciate it. And we didn't even say happy spring yet, because the last time we did this broadcast, it wasn't spring. Friday became spring. So
That's
happy
right.
spring, my
That's right.
friend.
Mm-hmm.
The air smells, well, polleny, and I'm feeling it. All right, sir. We'll check back with you, Mike. Thank you. And yes, the puppies are coming. 47 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 48 in Trenton. And in California, we have 60 degrees in Los Angeles, 61 in San Diego. Let's take a look at some traffic. And we have a lot of that because of the rain. A lot of rain on the roadways, a lot of pockets of flooding. So let's go to Route 3 if we can. There is a disabled vehicle, Route 3 westbound, east of Main Avenue, Clifton. Left lane is closed. That's causing some just beginning. You could see, look at the bottom of your screen. That's what we're talking about. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you could see the vehicles coming through, and that is causing a bit of a delay through there. There's a disabled bus right now on Basilone Road in both directions by South Directory Road and Elizabeth. All lanes open, two-way traffic on the eastbound roadway. So they've moved everybody off to the the 2 lanes on the eastbound side, but you're stuck down one lane per direction. So that's going to be a mess. Basilone Road at Directory Road in Elizabeth. Crash on 1 and 9 truck route northbound south of 440 in Jersey City. Center lane is closed. Garden State Parkway, we have a crash northbound south of exit 91BA, and that is by Chambers Bridge Road in Brick. We have a crash on the Garden State southbound north of exit 142 in Irvington with 1 lane blocked. You can see that bumper-to-bumper traffic there. We also have problems on the New Jersey Turnpike, a tractor-trailer fire. Turnpike northbound, north of Interchange 1, down by the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Oldman's, pardon me, with the right lane and right shoulder blocked. And the Hudson River crossings, Lincoln and Holland, are now reporting 35 to 40 minutes over. GWB is a mess. 45 plus minutes right now. Upper level on the right, lower on the left, barely moving. Look, the lower level actually isn't moving. The upper level on the right, only about 2 to 3 miles an hour. So they're telling us that's going to cost you at least 45 minutes and probably longer. In Los Angeles right now, we have a traffic hazard reported in central LA on the 10 at the 110. We have some police activity on the 710 north by Imperial Highway in East LA. Santa Fe Springs, there's a collision on North San Gabriel Avenue at West Sierra Madre Avenue. It's 7:36 on the East Coast now, 4:36 on the West. And we have something special right now. Today is National Puppy Day. We have a sneak peek at the next generation of service dogs. These aren't just cute dogs. These are professionals in training. Canine Companions has launched its Puppy Nation Puppy Cam, streaming adorable 7-week-old pups as they begin their journey to becoming highly trained service dogs for people with disabilities. Marissa Raddick is the training manager at Canine Companions. She's here to tell us how these pups grow into life-changing companions. Good morning to you, Marissa.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to have you on. And, I'm a dogaholic, so I can't wait to see these babies. Is there a special breed that tends to be more adept at helping people who are disabled?
So there's a wide variety, but at Canine Companions, we use Labrador and Golden Retriever crosses. So these puppies here are future service dogs. And like you said, Canine Companions provides highly trained service dogs for people with disabilities free of charge. And this week is really special because it's National Puppy Day. So we're kicking that off with our live stream puppy cam. And so you can see these little pups playing and snoozing and hanging out all week. If you visit canine.org/puppycam.
I love it. That is just so sweet. And the puppies are absolutely adorable. I mean, you just want to hug and squeeze every one of them. But this is an important future that they have. I mean, these, if you see a service dog, and as beautiful as they are, you should not approach the dog, correct?
That is correct. You can approach, but you want to be just mindful of asking if you're going to reach down to pet. So it's always nice to just recognize that they're a working dog and just acknowledge them and say, that's a beautiful dog. Do you mind if I say hi? And you just want to respect what the person says.
Yeah. And I've encountered, by the way, both, I've encountered some people who said, please, we'd rather not. And I've encountered people who say, oh, he's a mush, go ahead. But that's up to the individual. And there could be very good reasons why they might say one or the other. And it all depends. So that's just respect the individual for whom this service dog has been so trained. How many weeks does it take to train, or months does it take to train these dogs?
Great question. So these puppies, they're 7 weeks old right now, but next week they're going to be transported to their volunteer puppy raisers. And our volunteer puppy raisers are amazing. They will have these puppies from 8 weeks old until they're about 18 months old. And at that point, they are, throughout that time, they are socializing them. They are providing a very loving, safe home to grow up in, to learn the foundations. They go to puppy classes, just to set their future up to be a service dog. When they reach about 18 months old, they come back to us at one of our 8 centers to continue on in professional training. And that's where we teach them some of the more advanced skills. And they're in professional training from anywhere to 6 to 9 months on average before being matched with a person with a disability.
That's amazing. And not every dog passes, right? There are some dogs that then just become pets.
Correct.
So what is the ratio? Does it all just vary from batch to batch of puppies?
Yeah, it varies. We have pretty high, expectations. We have high goals. We want to produce the best service dogs that we can. So we run them through lots and lots of experiences just to get to set them up for the best future possible.
And this is why, with all due respect, I find it offensive when people get their little patch online, very disrespectfully, because they want to fly with their dog for free, and they say, "Well, this is my service animal." Don't do that. It's just so rude. I had two Pomeranians. I used to pay to fly them. I take such offense because there are people who genuinely need service animals. Don't try to compare your little foo-foo that just makes you feel better in the moment to an animal that's been trained for close to a year to help somebody who is sightless or can't hear or who has real emotional challenges. I just want to put that out there. And I know I don't want to get you dragged into it, but it is upsetting to me when I see that. For viewers who are inspired by watching today, what are some ways they can get involved and maybe like become a volunteer or puppy raiser?
Yes, so we absolutely would love more puppy raisers. So if you're interested, please go to our website at canine.org to learn a little bit more about that journey. You could watch webinars, get a little bit of insight of what that experience is. I'm a two-time puppy raiser, and I can swear it's incredible. It's a life-changing opportunity to do so. So we always need more. And we can also get involved by sponsoring one of these puppies here. We have Berkeley and Barley, one of them. He's over here playing. But if you wanted to sponsor one of these puppies, you would receive a personalized kit with a bunch of goodies inside, and then you would receive regular updates on how the puppy is doing over the next 2 years as they continue on their journey to become a service dog.
That's awesome. And what are some of the specialties? I'm sure they're not all trained. Well, I guess they're trained in the basics, and then they're trained in some cases for specialties, right? For people who are sightless, et cetera.
Yeah, so our dogs are trained to complete 45 different tasks. They will pick up dropped items like keys or credit cards. They can tug open doors and push them closed. They can turn lights on with their nose or turn them off with their chin. We have some of our dogs will be trained for veterans with PTSD, and so they can interrupt anxiety or wake them up from nightmares. We also provide dogs for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, so they can alert them to important sounds in their environment. And we also train medical alert dogs for people with diabetes.
I love it. All right, so check out the Puppy Nation Puppy Cam today. It's not just cute. These are professionally trained animals. They're the greatest things ever. I believe they're angels sent from heaven. Marissa Raddick, or Raddick, which is the pronunciation, Marissa?
Raddick. Thank you.
Raddick. Okay. I want to make sure. Marissa Raddick, training manager, Canine Companions. Thanks for joining us on this special Puppy Day.
Thank you so much.
You bet. And we're coming right back. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 45 minutes past the hour. Again, we are following this breaking news. This was a shot from just a few hours ago at LaGuardia Airport. You're looking at an Air Canada Jazz jet. That's one of the smaller Embraer jets that carries up to about 100 passengers. This jet collided with a ground emergency vehicle just before midnight. That emergency vehicle was headed to help another jet that had smoke in the cockpit. When the two collided on the runway, the cockpit sheared off this Air Canada jet. The two pilots were killed in the process. We will, of course, stay on top of this story. Dozens of people had to be rushed to area hospitals, some in serious condition. We will keep you updated throughout the morning on this still developing story. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 46 minutes past the hour now. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Should mention LaGuardia is closed until this afternoon at the very earliest. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your city.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Just amazing to see that, Mike, and to think about the force that there had to be for the cockpit of a commercial jetliner to be torn off by a fire truck. And that's what it was. The fire, amazingly, the fire truck, no, everybody survived. They were injured,
Yeah.
but everybody survived. It was the two pilots who must have collided head on with that truck.
Also, the force to turn a fire truck on its side. That's a
Right.
big force too, So yeah, big investigation will continue. Hey, we've got some better weather in our forecast today, Ken, especially after the rain that came through last night. Now this morning, still have those showers around, but throughout the afternoon, clouds eventually clear. It takes the most of the day to clear out the clouds, and cooler air remains for the rest of this week. We're pretty cloudy across the Northeast today and tomorrow, even into Wednesday, while all of that heat, this is basically a heat dome. You can see how it's a large circular area across the desert Southwest that will keep all the clouds away and keep that record heat continuing at least through Thursday into Friday, whereas some of that warmth arrives in the east by the time we get to Thursday afternoon, promoting lots of warmer weather, temperatures making it back up into the upper 60s, even some low 70s by Thursday afternoon. So we'll finish with this rain later on this morning into the afternoon. The clouds will clear and we look drier going into the remainder of this week. Even the zoomed in view across the Northeast showing that clearing occurring later on today, most of it happening tonight. But by tomorrow, even though it's dry, the clouds return, and we keep those clouds around for most of the day into the afternoon, kind of a high, thin variety going into Wednesday as well. Thursday sees some nice drier weather, warmer as well, and then by the end of the day into Friday, some more rain comes in for the end of this week. So we're not quite done with the wet weather yet, but at least we get a break and a pause. We'll have that sunshine in between, sandwiched by the showers early this week and then again later on this week. And here's all of that heat moving east through the first week of April. So we have warmer days to look ahead to as we wrap up the month of March, looking into the first week of April. On a nice milder note, the dry weather also stays east as well, Ken.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. We have a temperature 45 degrees now in northern New Jersey, 48 degrees in Trenton, rain falling at this hour. So give yourselves extra travel time, please, and take it slow because of the bad weather. Again, the big news of the day, we had that collision of a jet at LaGuardia Airport, forcing the closure of LaGuardia until at least this afternoon. So if you were headed to LaGuardia, turn around and call your carrier because LaGuardia will be closed until at least 2 o'clock, possibly later, while emergency officials and members of the NTSB investigate the exact reasons for the collision of an Air Canada jet on the tarmac at LaGuardia with an emergency responding vehicle. In terms of traffic in our area, we have a disabled bus right now, and that is on Basilone Road in both directions by South Directory Road in Elizabeth, and that is causing two-way traffic to go to the eastbound lane and share that lane. This is 1 and 9 right now that you're looking at. This is the truck route northbound, south of Route 440 Jersey City, center lane 4 lanes closed. Garden State Parkway, we have a crash reported northbound. South of exit 91 BA, Chambers Bridge Road in Brick. All lanes are open, but very heavy through there. And a little further north by exit 1 from 138 to 143, we have a crash in the right lane, and that is causing about a 5-mile delay on the Garden State Parkway. Again, a lot of this weather related, so give yourselves extra travel time. Tractor trailer fire, Jersey Turnpike northbound, north of interchange 1 by the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Oldmans Township, making your way toward Philadelphia. Right lane and shoulder are closed. The Hudson River crossings, all a mess. 40 to 45 minutes to Lincoln and Holland, 45 to 60 GWB upper and lower levels. You'll see the upper level on the right is just barely moving. That's moving a couple of miles an hour. Lower level on the left wasn't even moving until now. Again, 45 to 60 making your way in. It's just a messy morning, period, between our news and our traffic, folks. So pack your patience. Nice deep breath. That's the way to do it. Looking at the West Coast, by the way, we're at 60 degrees in Los Angeles right now, 62 in San Diego. We have traffic collision in LA, and this is on Imperial Highway at North Nash. And we have a police reported activity at the 710 and Imperial Highway in East LA. Traffic collision also reported Central LA at the 5 and the 60. It is 7:51 East Coast, 4:51 West. You know when you go into stores, how you see workers constantly updating prices by inserting those little price tags into the slots in the front of shelves? Walmart often does that when they roll back prices. Well, now there's a new way to change those price tags, and it can be done pretty much instantly. Brand and digital strategist Fisher, who can be found on X and Threads with username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media, here this morning to explain. Good morning, Fisher.
Good morning, Ken.
So they're switching over to electronic price labels on their shelves, but not only can they lower prices, but I guess you could do like a congestion pricing thing. If you start to run low on something, you could hike the price too.
Could you? Sure. But Walmart stresses that that's not going to happen. Prices are going to remain the same for every customer in every store, no individualized or dynamic pricing. And we talked about this in a conspiracy theory this yesterday on the phone, but they said that they're going to keep this on the up and up for now. Probably. That's my editorial comment there. But yes, Walmart rolling out digital shelf labels, which are, again, the electronic price tags. The technology modernizes store shelves by allowing remote instant price updates. About 2,300 Walmart United States locations already use these digital labels. For employees, digital shelf labels significantly cut manual pricing work, as much as 75% reduction in time spent changing those tags. And that frees them to focus on helping customers and doing other work-related items. Other retailers like Kroger are also experimenting with similar electronic shelf label technology. Now, the initiative, as you said, and we talked about, has sparked concerns from some lawmakers, of course, and critics about potentially doing surge pricing, dynamic pricing, even though Walmart says it's not going to happen. But there is already proposed legislation in federal government and various states to stop price gouging in grocery stores. ACT is one of them, and banning the digital labels in large stores, which is ridiculous. You got to modernize the shelves and be able to roll out price changes without having to go down each aisle and change those paper tags. Again, Walmart describes the tags as a modern tool to help associates work better with no cameras, microphones, or customer data collection involved, while supporters, including retail groups, argue existing laws already prevent misuse.
Yeah, I mean, just the margin is so fine right now at Walmart and grocery stores. You know, they make maybe 1.5% if they're lucky. And then when you consider the amount of theft that many of the more left-leaning governments around the country are permitting, oh, you could steal up to $1,000 before we'll even send a cop or charge anybody. Like this money has to come from somewhere. You keep charging the insurance companies, their insurance rates get confiscatory and they can't even afford insurance. So, you know, money doesn't come from heaven. And you might have caught Pokemon while walking around the neighborhood, but it turns out millions of players were unknowingly building something much bigger, right? There was a massive data set, 30 billion images from Pokemon Go. And it's now powering navigation tech for delivery robots. Tell us about this.
Yeah, Pokemon Go launched in 2016. Approximately 143 million players have participated in the augmented reality game, unwillingly knowing that they were contributing a massive real-world data set. While scanning the landmarks, Pokestops, and gyms with their phone cameras to place or interact with virtual elements, players captured images, short videos, and various angles, lighting conditions, and times of day. The crowdsourced effort has resulted in a data set exceeding 30 billion real-world images. Now, Niantic Spatial, which is Pokemon Go's parent company, has partnered with Coco Robotics, a startup deploying small autonomous delivery robots for food and groceries in cities all across the United States and Europe, and that's what they're going to use this technology. It helps the robots navigate sidewalks safely and accurately in crowded or GPS-challenged environments, improving the last-mile delivery efficiency, and many players were unaware that their games were being repurposed for this enterprise. But you know, it's not a bad thing. They weren't taking personal data. You were participating in the game. They have terms and conditions, and then they repurpose this data. Foursquare was a popular place that you checked in. It was a social media product in the early 2000s, and that has led to many mapping programs, and because you would be in a location, you take pictures, it's the same data set, same kind of deal. But this story highlights also privacy concerns and debates on how user-generated content from apps can quietly be repurposed years later, and like I said, in Swarm and Foursquare. But again, you got to read the terms and conditions, which none of us do, and the privacy policies, which none of us do. And, you know, again, that company owns that data that you're using, and that's kind of like the trade-off of being able to use the game.
Yeah, and that is part of it. But again, it benefits us in the long run, as you mentioned, which is kind of interesting. So are we going to see, in your humble opinion, are we going to see these robots everywhere delivering?
Yeah, I think we do now, and you know, you might be in a bigger city and see these little, they look like suitcases on wheels, and they come to the crosswalks and they stop, and then they, you know, and then also you see on the internet, on X, many posts where they all converge because that's where they recharge, or that they stop in the middle of the street. I think it'll improve it. I think we're going down that path. You know, my local Chick-fil-A delivers Chick-fil-A via robot, if you choose to do it that way. We're going that way. It's, you know, we'll see it. My local Walmart delivers stuff under 5 pounds, I think, by drone, which I saw in the neighborhood the other day. So I don't think we can avoid it, and anything that will help by taking location data from Pokemon Go, I think is a positive thing. There are privacy concerns. We report on it all the time. We'll deal with them as they come up, I guess.
It's a whole new world. Brand and digital strategist Fisher, who can be found on X and Threads with username @Fisher, and through his website, fisher.media, joining us every week at this time. Thanks for coming on, Fish.
Thanks, Ken.
You bet. 58 minutes past the hour. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be right back with more on the plane crash at LaGuardia. We're coming right back. Good morning. It's 8 a.m. Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Light rain could become heavier in some spots and breezy with a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. Highs mid to upper 40s. Some serious incidents throughout the area, both in terms of traffic and, of course, we will bring you some breaking news on this plane crash that happened on the ground at LaGuardia Airport last night. In the meantime, meteorologist Mike Favetta has a check of the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, I'm going to ask if I'm going to throw a curveball at Pam if we could bring up, if you can, Pam, the video of the jet, just because I mentioned it. This happened last night, just before midnight at LaGuardia. A jet from operated by Jazz, which is a subsidiary of Air Canada, was there. It is was on the ground. Look at this. The nose of the jet was sheared off by a fire truck, and the two collided. The fire truck was knocked on its side. You could see the nose torn off. Dozens of passengers rushed to area hospitals in serious or critical condition. The two pilots on that jet, unfortunately, were killed. NTSB officials, pardon me, on the scene right now investigating, and we will have more on this story in just a moment. This is all happening just before midnight. Now, Mike, with the forecast and the weather, last night it was raining, but you're saying it wasn't horrible in terms of weather, right?
There was light rain reported with 4 mile visibility and light winds. So, weather, sure, always a consideration when looking at an investigation, but it doesn't seem to be the main culprit, at least early in the stage, just given the conditions at the time. There is still some light rain falling across portions of central and southern New Jersey as this wet weather exits and brings back just some clouds later today. Already the rain ending across northern New Jersey, so you'll begin to see the dry weather first as the temperature, oh, look at that, already cooling off into the upper 30s and low 40s. That's the cold front doing its job, moving across the state quickly. And even the 52 in Atlantic City right now will give way to much cooler weather as that front passes through. So you can see the temperature change from this time yesterday. 7 degrees cooler in Sussex, but warmer down the shore as the front slides across New Jersey throughout the morning. Winds will also switch direction, blowing in from the north and west. And there's our rain from last night, moving down to the south and east. And the clearing, that'll occur momentarily, starting to see at least some brightening to the skies later on today. So headed out by this afternoon, there won't be any rainfall across any of these 13 Audio Nova locations, but there will be some cooler weather as the temperatures cool off far chillier than they were yesterday afternoon. You saw people walking outside, taking a stroll later in the day with that sunshine. It felt like a springtime day. Well, now March is kind of giving us its ugly side, bringing back the clouds, the cold, and of course the chilly weather tonight. We're back down in the 20s and 30s throughout the overnight, so cool to start tomorrow morning. Temperatures only rebounding into the upper 40s by tomorrow afternoon, and it stays chilly even through Wednesday with clouds returning. I think Thursday, that'll be our first day with the dry weather in the morning with warm weather through the afternoon. Temperatures reach the 70s before cooling back down with some rain Thursday night into Friday. So, yeah, we traded the snowflakes for the cherry blossoms, bringing in some milder weather through the end of the week, even though it turns a little gray by the weekend. We'll talk more about those details coming up with the full weekend forecast, Ken, in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. 45 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 48 degrees in Trenton. It's 48 degrees also at Cape May and 47 degrees in Vineland. In terms of traffic, we have an issue right now, the 1 in 9 truck route. This is northbound south of Route 440 in Jersey City. We have a crash reported. Center lane of 4 lanes closed, causing this long stretch of traffic that you see right there. On Basilone Road, there's a disabled bus in both directions, impacting traffic in both directions by South Directory Road and Elizabeth. All lanes open. Two-way traffic, though, has been moved over to the eastbound side. Beware of that. Over to, let's see, let's do which one you want to do, Pam? You want to do the Turnpike? Parkway, okay. So we do have traffic on the parkway due to a crash. It's off to the shoulder. This is by exit 142. You can see this is actually beginning at exit 136, 137, stretches all the way up to 142. It's about a 5-mile delay. So you can see everybody moving at about 10 miles an hour. Just be aware of that. Give yourselves extra travel time. We have a crash also on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 91 BA, Chambers Bridge Road in Brick. All lanes are open there. And on the turnpike, there's a tractor trailer fire northbound by Interchange 1, Delaware Memorial Bridge, Oldmans Township. We just looked at the camera on the bridge. We can't seem to find anything there, so maybe they haven't updated that. Just beware, though. Nonetheless, it's out there. And this just reported, disabled vehicle on the Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound, north of Interchange 15W by I-280 in Kearney. The center lane is blocked. The Hudson River crossings right now, Lincoln is reporting 45 to 50 minutes. The Harlem, those are train lines. Hudson and Harlem are train lines. I always do that. The Holland Tunnel, thank you, Pam, is reporting 35 to 40 minutes, and GWB upper and lower level a mess. 45 to 60 minutes, upper level on the right, lower level on the left. It is 8:06 right now, and 2 people were killed. Again, as we talked about, our top story at the beginning of the hour, when a passenger jet struck a Port Authority vehicle at LaGuardia Airport. This happened just before midnight. The pilot and the co-pilot were killed. Listen to ground control as the accident occurred.
Truck 1 and Company, LaGuardia Tower, requesting to cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, cross 4 at Delta.
Truck 1 and Company, crossing 4 at Delta.
Frontier 4195 to stop there, please. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Stop, truck 1, stop. Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000. Jet 646. Jet 646, I see you collide with a vehicle here, just hold position, I know you can't move. The vehicle's there responding to you now.
Is the runway closed?
Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000.
Right, 2000, go around, 2603.
Tower.
Truck 2, runway 4 is closed, correct?
Yep, go on to runway 4 now. Proceed on runway 4, you have access.
Tower, Carter 0, runway 422 is closed at this time.
90, roger.
LaGuardia Tower, vehicle 98.
98. Vehicle 98.
Vehicle 98, police show at this time, runway 422 is closed. I repeat, runway 422 is closed at this time.
Tower, Car 90, LaGuardia Airport is closed at this time.
It is terrifying to listen to. 41 people were injured. Again, the 2 pilots were killed in that collision. And they were treated, those 41 were treated in local hospitals. 32 were released, but some are very seriously hurt, as you can imagine. The collision involved a Jazz Aviation flight, pardon me, that's operated on behalf of Air Canada. So Air Canada has a lower cost subsidiary called Jazz, and that's what this was. The plane was carrying, again, 72 passengers, 4 crew. The Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting truck was responding to an unrelated report of an odor on a United flight, and it got struck at 11:40 last night. That, according to Port Authority spokespeople. LaGuardia is closed. It will not reopen until 2 p.m. at the earliest as authorities investigate. The closure could even be extended. Police have warned people just avoid the area if at all possible. It is 8:08. He was once a darling of those on the left. In 2012, Democrat President Barack Obama established a national monument for him. Pardon me, in 2024, New Jersey's Democrat lawmakers in Trenton passed legislation to make his birthday an official state holiday. Well, now Cesar Chavez, the hardcore activist with communist ties, quickly being canceled after allegations that the late labor leader abused a number of underage girls and women. Former supporters removed his statue at Fresno State University. They canceled marches and other events scheduled for his birthday, which is coming up a week from tomorrow. They yanked his name from streets, parks, and schools. Got to give him credit for doing this very quickly. Many on the left are struggling now with how to erase the veneration of Chavez, the man without obliterating Latino pride. But I had somebody online telling me last night that was a courtesy never granted to Italian Americans as the left rushed to cancel Christopher Columbus. I'm sure this debate will continue firing. Well, Governor Mikey Sherrill is facing a lot of online backlash after she appeared at a Ramadan event dressed in traditional Muslim garb. It prompted criticism from both Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Photos from the governor's own social media show Sherrill wearing a headscarf while she attended the community celebration marking the end of Ramadan. Some supporters say the gesture was simply a sign of respect. The governor meant no disrespect, while others are quick to call it cultural appropriation. Critics question the propriety of the outfit and accuse the governor of engaging in performative or politically motivated displays, raising questions about authenticity and political messaging. Sherrill has not publicly responded to the criticism. Travelers at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport were talking about the incidents there in terms of TSA wait lines. Of course, you can't even compare what just happened at LaGuardia to this, but nonetheless, this was the big story over the weekend. TSA wait lines reportedly 3 hours or longer, and that prompted President Trump to dispatch ICE agents to area airports. So ICE agents will be at airports throughout the country. They will be handling duties that TSA agents normally can do with their eyes closed. Things like, when you walk out, when you land at the airport and you leave the terminal and it says you may not re-enter from this point, that's where you'll see an ICE agent. But the TSA agents then would be free to do other things to get those lines moving again. But 3 hours is just unacceptable. And it's only going to get worse until the government gets its act together and gets the spending plan in gear. Meanwhile, Americans traveling abroad are being advised to keep their eyes wide open for the foreseeable future as global tensions mount around the world. The Iranian military has issued a threat as of Friday, saying Tehran terrorists would be targeting popular tourism havens for Americans and Israelis. The State Department issued a worldwide caution for American travelers after hostilities broke out with Iran. The experts advise avoiding the Middle East altogether. They also suggest avoiding Russia and Ukraine as the two nations continue to wage war on each other. And if you are in a foreign country, you are advised not to broadcast the fact that you are American. Well, it is on, Newark's South Ward will be home to a new $50 million wellness center. A consortium of organizations, including RWJ Barnabas, Brick Network, St. James Health, and the YMCA, of Newark and vicinity, held a groundbreaking ceremony on March 5th. The South Ward Wellness Center should be built by April of 2027. It'll be located at 43 Clinton Avenue. It's a huge 50,000 square foot facility housing a community room, a pharmacy, maternal health treatment, primary care suites, space for fellow nonprofits, and even classrooms for health and cooking education. And President Trump made good on his promise to obliterate areas around Tehran, especially power plants, if the Hormuz Strait wasn't opened at once. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says that U.S. threats to strike Iran's energy infrastructure show desperation, adding the Strait of Hormuz is open, except it's not. The waterway is vital for global oil shipping. It is coming up on 8:13 right now, and pardon me, getting over sinus infection, folks. When we come back, AI is transforming nearly every part of our lives. We'll explain. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 8:15 on a Monday, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234 if you're just tuning in. Serious incident at LaGuardia Airport, remaining closed, by the way, the airport is, until at least this afternoon. A plane collided with an emergency vehicle just before midnight last night, killing the two pilots on that plane. We will have that story in just a moment. In the meantime, light rain could be heavier in some spots today, then breezy mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, let's just show that plane once again. This is from several hours ago. This was at LaGuardia Airport last night. The sheer force of that Air Canada Jazz jet colliding with a fire truck, toppling the fire truck and ripping off the nose of that jet, killing the two pilots, sending 72 people to area hospitals, many in serious or critical condition. This, of course, will be the lead story for the New York Tri-State for certainly for this day until we get more information. NTSB on the scene. Again, LaGuardia closed till further notice. In the meantime, there was some rain, but not heavy rain. So, of course, they'll be looking into why this would have happened. There is ground control. It's supposed to navigate everybody on the ground there at LaGuardia.
Yeah, weather will be a part of that investigation, but like you had mentioned, 4 mile visibility, so yet to be seen how much weather was a factor in last night's accident. But we have improving visibility this morning, Ken, as the front passes through. Drier weather taking over already across northwestern portions of the state, still hanging in with those showers there across the southern portion of Ocean and into Burlington County and Atlantic County this morning, as the last of the rains now exiting east, giving us some drier weather for the rest of the morning. So even though you see some of these rain icons here, this is really going to wrap up, I think, in the next hour or two, as most of the wet weather finishes by this afternoon. Then we see a clearing later on tonight. Drier, colder winds settle in from the north and west, and that will make it feel very chilly by this time tomorrow morning, especially as we dip down into the teens and 20s for Tuesday morning. So another winter-like feel in the first few days of spring. I think with the drier weather lasting through Wednesday, there's still some clouds around. It's still breezy. It's still chilly. Have to wait until Thursday to see a little bit of a warm up, especially by the afternoon. We could hit the 70s briefly before the rain returns for Friday morning, giving us a wet finish to the week. So there's our wet weather that came through last night, working its way eastward and to the south right now. And then we have some drier weather setting up for the rest of the day into tonight. The Futurecast showing that clearing by this afternoon. Already some breaks appearing on the map throughout the late afternoon, and then full clearing after sunset. But that's where the cold returns and sets up for the next few days, even going into Wednesday. Have to wait till Thursday for that milder fetch of air to come in from the south, providing a nice drier finish to the weekend, especially the weekend looking sunny and dry both days. So that's some nice news, especially finishing off what will be a rather wet Friday. So that's the wet part of the forecast on the weekend. With the wet start, it's primarily Friday that's a bit damp, and then we dry things out into Saturday and Sunday with sunshine, Ken, both days.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. We have a temperature of 45 degrees northern New Jersey, 48 degrees in Trenton, and in terms of traffic, we have a lot of it. Let's start right now on the New Jersey Turnpike. We have a vehicle by exit 15W. This is Eastern Spur northbound, north of interchange 15W, actually by I-280 in Kearney. There's a disabled vehicle, and that's causing the center lane to be blocked, and you can see the mess of traffic that is causing. Another issue, we have a few issues actually on the Turnpike. There is a crash and a vehicle off the roadway, Turnpike southbound north of interchange 5. I just looked. I don't see anything with cameras, but nonetheless, this is in West Hampton Township. All lanes open, vehicle off to the side of the roadway. We have this just popped up. You know what, Pam? I'm going to throw a curveball to you on the air. Your favorite cam, your 495 cam by the Lion King, if you could pull that up. So we just got a report now of a crash on 495 eastbound, east of 1 and 9 North Bergen. So that's what it is. Thank you, Pam. That we call that Pam's favorite shop because that electronic billboard on the left usually shows the Lion King, one of her favorite shows, one of mine too. But nonetheless, you can see the mess now going into the helix that'll take you into Manhattan on the Lincoln Tunnel via the Lincoln Tunnel. The Lincoln Tunnel, there's the Lion King ad right there. The Lincoln Tunnel was already going to cost you 40 to 45. Now it's going to cost you more. So, and the GWB is not a better alternate. But the Holland Tunnel, it's about 40 minutes in, Now we could look at the upper and lower of the GWB. It's going to cost you 45 to 60 making your way into Manhattan. Just an ugly commuter day. The weather, of course, has a lot to do with this. Your best bet, mass transit, especially now that NJ Transit is back onto its traditional schedule, now that the Portal North Bridge is in full function and full operation. It is 8:20 right now. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming nearly every part of our lives, from how we work and learn to breakthroughs in medicine, science, and technology. Well, this Thursday, the New Jersey Institute of Technology will hold AI Exploration Day throughout the school to highlight how AI is shaping education, research, and the future workforce. John Palesko is the provost at NJIT. We say good morning, Provost Palesko. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, not a very busy day. Thank you for being so patient with us this morning. It's a crazy
Right
news
away.
day. Yes, thank you. Tell us about NJIT and why you decided to dedicate a whole day school-wide to focus on artificial intelligence.
Yeah, good question. So from our perspective, what we think is that artificial intelligence is transforming how we create knowledge, how we share knowledge, how we apply knowledge in a way that nothing else has in our lifetimes. And it's happening incredibly fast. I mean, if you think about it a little bit, think back 3 years, AI could barely write code. Today, you have the CEOs of Google, CEOs of major tech companies saying that AI is now writing a third of their code, and pretty soon it's going to be writing all of their code. And this is impacting the job market. And of course, it's not just in computer science or tech related fields, it's across the board. So we decided that we needed to step back to think about this and think about how we as an institution respond to the changes that we see AI creating all across society.
That's fascinating. And Provost, our tech guy whom we had on, I should say, at 7:45, Fisher, just did a story 2 weeks ago on how Amazon literally shut down several weeks ago. No one could figure out what was going on. It was because their AI determined that their own computer programs were not properly programmed or efficiently programmed. So AI shut the system down to rewrite itself. That's kind of big brotherish. That sort of reminds me of Hal in Space Odyssey. Do we have to worry about this in the future where AI says, screw you humans, we're just going to take over?
Well, I hope not, but this is a really good question. And I think one of the things that you'll see on Thursday is we have sessions that are looking at all of those aspects, right? Not only the good stuff about AI and the exciting developments, but also the risks and the challenges. One of our highlighted sessions is by Michael Johnson, who's the president of the New Jersey Innovation Institute, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of NJIT. And he's going to be talking about existential threats from artificial intelligence. So I'd love to have you come by. You're welcome to join that session and we can talk about exactly that question.
I would love that. And it almost feels like the genie's out of the bottle. Did we let the genie out too soon? Because look, there isn't a night that goes by. And I say night because usually 9 o'clock at night, I'm prepping the show for the next morning. And I'm on the computer and I have my phone next to me and I say, hey, GOOGLE, double check this. Hey, GOOGLE, double check that. So I have conversation with AI every single night. It's creepy that it answers me. But the problem is sometimes I get answers that I know are not correct. So is AI just not there yet, or do we have to worry about it writing history?
Well, I think the really interesting thing about AI is how fast it's moving, right? So what we're seeing with artificial intelligence is really an exponential growth in capabilities. And that's hard for humans to perceive. We're really bad at perceiving things that actually grow exponentially. And AI is one of those things that do. Right now, what we're seeing is AI's capabilities doubling effectively every 7 months. So it's pretty incredible, right? If you think back, 2 years ago, if you tried something with AI and you're like, oh, it's not quite right, it's not good. If you try it again today, it's probably really, really good. AI right now is the worst it's ever going to be, and it's just going to get better from here.
That's fascinating that you put it that way. And by the way, I just experimented as of a week ago with a version of AI I'd never seen before, Claude.ai. Have you tried this yet? So
I
with
use
Claude,
Claude almost every day.
I love it. I mean, I know it's a ringing endorsement, right? I wanted to play around with a new logo, and I told Claude, "Hey, come out with a logo for my show." And it asked, what give us details, and I gave it details, and within 10 seconds, I had a logo and I said, make this thinner. And it made the graphic thinner. And I said, it did everything I asked instantaneously. And I'm thinking, what about graphic design artists? Who will have a job 20 years from now?
Yeah, that's a great example because think about it. 3 years ago, we weren't even talking about image generation with AI. It wasn't a thing. It was on nobody's radar. And now you can do that, right? You can make that logo in just a minute and you can modify it and boom, it pops out. And that's just, sort of the tip of the iceberg in terms of image generation. And you're absolutely right. That's going to change what graphic designers do. AI is also going to change what people do in the health professions, in engineering, in just about every single profession that you can think about. And that's really why we're having AI Exploration Day, because we recognize that the world that our students are walking into looks radically different than it did even 2 or 3 years ago. And we need to figure out how do we prepare our students for the careers of the future that are all going to involve artificial intelligence.
Provost, remember decades ago, a couple of decades ago, they talked about eventually we will map the human genome. Now, not only have we mapped it, but AI knows how to tweak it. That's and with what is the program? Is it Cutter? I forget the program that can actually splice our DNA. CRISPR. Thank you. That to me is just beyond. And this is what we're talking about. These are some applications I'm sure you'll be discussing on Thursday.
Yes, absolutely. Alongside things like with doing solar weather prediction, right? So what happens on the sun impacts satellites. It can impact the power grid. We have researchers here at NJIT that are using artificial intelligence to help us make better predictions there. Things like rehabilitation robotics, where our faculty are doing things like building exoskeletons for people that aren't mobile and using AI to help train those exoskeletons to enable people that can't walk to walk again. It's just about any area you can think about, AI is being applied.
And we didn't get to talk about it. We're down to our last few seconds. I just want to mention Ethan Mollick is going to be there as well as a speaker. So everybody should check it out. NJIT showcasing the living lab. You got to check it out. NJIT, we're so lucky that you are a part of New Jersey and a big one. AI Exploration Day this Thursday, New Jersey Institute of Technology, Provost John Palesko. I hope it turns out amazing. It sounds like it will. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
Come back anytime, sir. Thank you. And when we come back, one New Jersey organization bringing artists and the community together in a truly grassroots way. We'll explain in 2 minutes. Morning, it's Monday, March 23rd, 2026. We have a temperature of 48 degrees in northern New Jersey and in Trenton. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Once again, Mike, I'm going to ask Pam to call up the video of what happened at LaGuardia Airport last night. If you are just waking up and tuning in, you'll see this jet. That is a jet that has the nose sheared off. Both pilots were killed. And this happened just before midnight last night. LaGuardia Airport, there was an emergency rescue truck, a fire truck, rushing to a different jet. And that different jet apparently reported the smell of smoke in the cockpit. As the fire truck was going to that jet, this jet collided with it on the runway. And that's always dangerous when you have runway incursion, it's called, because those you're a plane coming in for a landing or whatever, or going to take off, and you full throttle, you can't stop on a dime. So that's why it's really up to the emergency vehicles to be very careful and not to enter a runway. We don't know who's to blame here. That's what the investigation is for. But that's why it is so essential that an emergency vehicle that has more control not enter a runway unless given explicit orders to do so or not to do so by ground control. But again, 2 people dead. As you can see, Michael talked a little bit about the weather last night there. We had 72 rush to area hospitals, a number of people still in serious or critical condition. And this story, of course, is not going anywhere. Not going away anytime soon. LaGuardia remains closed and will be until this afternoon. But again, Mike, last night, the weather, we had some rain, right?
It's incredible to you read so much about these air traffic control recordings, which are public, and they appear a lot sometimes on social media about how many near misses there are in a month, right? You always hear last second the pilots are ordered to pull up, or they pull up on their own accord as not to it strikes somebody else who's on the runway. This looks like to be one of those unfortunate cases where it was a little too late because the plane had already landed, all the wheels were on the ground, and yet you had this occur. You can see the visibility is reduced there in a lot of this video, but yet there wasn't, heavy rain, whereas there was zero visibility. Obviously, weather always a factor in these investigations, but an unfortunate series of events there, as you can see.
Indeed. Well, we only pray for the families of the pilots who lost their lives and all of those people who were injured, including the emergency crews on the ground and the fire truck. I'm sure a lot of those folks were taken to hospitals with injuries. And again, LaGuardia remains closed until we can get to the bottom of this. So we just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best for all those who are in the hospital right now.
Yes. We are looking forward to the drier weather ahead. It is still raining across most of New Jersey, especially the southern half of the state, where some of those even lightning strikes are being detected just offshore. So a little bit of that energy now exiting as the cold front moves through. That will provide the clearing, already providing the blue shade, the coloring there in the northwestern corner of New Jersey. As the rest of this rain ends, the southern half of the state sees the rain end throughout this morning, and while the drier air takes over for the rest of the day into tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll see tree pollen back as soon as tomorrow, probably, with that drier air. As the daylight hours get longer, sunrise now before 7 a.m., sunset after 7:12 p.m., as the clearing line works its way across New Jersey. But that's the cold air as well that digs down and provides the chill for the rest of this afternoon and really the rest of the week. So as our rain chances go down for tomorrow and Wednesday, you see they pop back up by Thursday night into Friday. That'll be the end of the week system that ends our week with some wet notes, but at least until then, we're dry, even though the clouds hang out for the day tomorrow and especially by Wednesday, as our highs struggle to make it out of the 40s as a result. Then by Thursday afternoon, the warm front takes over, providing lovely warmth similar to yesterday. We'll likely hit the 70s with mostly sunny skies, only to be followed by some rain later Thursday night into Friday morning. But once that rain clears out, I think we dry up again in time for the weekend. 7-day forecast has that lovely warming trend right through Thursday, getting up to near 70 degrees. And then the weekend cools down a little bit, but not terribly, holding just around average in the 40s and 50s after some rain on Friday. So dry the remainder of this week after that wet weather wraps up today, warming into Thursday, looking pleasant, and then a little bit of wet weather weather by Friday before clearing again in time for the weekend.
All right, Mike, indeed. I love the fact that on a Monday we're talking weekend. That's always a good thing. Thank you,
Always,
sir.
always.
Yes, we'll check back with you in just a little bit. It is 45 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 47 degrees in Trenton, and we have a lot of traffic with the wet roadways, of course. So let's get started, shall we? Let's take a look right now at I'm sorry, Pam, I already got mixed up. We're going to go to the New Jersey Turnpike. No, 495. Thank you, Pam. Pam saving the day as always. So this is the approach to the helix at the Lincoln Tunnel. You can see it's barely moving. So this is one of your approaches. I'm going to start with what we usually finish with. Your Lincoln Tunnel approach to Manhattan is going to cost you 45 to 50 minutes and an absolute mess. Holland Tunnel is 35 to 40 minutes in. We look at some other incidents. There's a tractor trailer fire now on 287 northbound, north of exit 59, 208 in Franklin Lakes. Right lane and right shoulder are closed. So that just happened, Pam, giving her a heads up there. There's a disabled bus on Basilone Road, both directions, South Directory Road and Elizabeth, all lanes open. Two-way traffic has been diverted to the eastbound roadway. We have a crash on the Turnpike outer roadway, southbound, south of Interchange 6, the Pennsylvania Turnpike in Mansfield. All lanes are open, vehicle on the shoulder. And we have a crash and vehicle off the roadway on the Turnpike, southbound, north of Interchange 5 in West Hampton. All lanes open, vehicle on the right side of the roadway there. We have a crash on 1 and 9 truck route. This is northbound, south of Route 440 in Jersey City. Center lane of 4 lanes closed, causing this absolute mess of traffic you see here. And a tractor trailer fire now on the Turnpike northbound, north of Interchange 1, down by the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Oldman's. Right lane and shoulder are currently blocked. Just a mess. Just a mess. We take a look at the GWB crossing right now, upper and lower levels, bumper to bumper, and it's been this way all morning long. You can see the upper level on the right, lower level on the left, and this is going to cost you about 45 to 50 minutes into Manhattan. Wow. Well, in a time when creative spaces are more important than ever, one New Jersey organization is bringing artists and the community together. Flemington DIY on Stengel Road in Flemington is a 100% volunteer-run space offering everything from live music and art shows to classes, film screenings, and jam sessions, all designed to make the arts more accessible and collaborative. Love this. Jeff Hirsch is the co-founder and the executive director. He's here to talk about how people can get involved. Good morning, Jeff, and thanks for being so patient on this busy news morning. We appreciate you.
Of course. Good morning. Thanks for having me and speaking about DIY.
Yeah, you bet. I love this, and I'm sure lots of people do, especially if you're into the arts. The fact that there's a space for people into the arts so unique as this. Tell us how this started. When did you first come up with the idea, and what was it like putting it all together and getting everybody organized?
Yeah, so it kind of started out as just like a pop-up experiment in an abandoned bank about 12 years ago now. And it was just a small group of artists and folks. And, as things started to pick up, more people got involved. They had ideas and just kind of approached us. And it kind of just spiraled into something bigger than any of us and just a full-blown community-run organization at this point.
And there are so many of those beautiful old bank buildings banks back 100 years ago, right? They used to be the epicenters. They almost looked like a temple in the middle of a town. And today, many of them are in disrepair because it just costs so much to keep them up. But they're beautiful buildings, perfect for an artist of any kind, whether it be a musician, a painter, a sculptor, anyone, somebody into poetry. So the question is, how do you keep everything running when you're just dealing with volunteers? That must be a challenge.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a challenge over the years, but we have a really great crew. We really just have a solid crew of people who are really dedicated. And I truly believe, people will come out of the woodwork when they have the opportunity. And I think a lot of people want the opportunity to be leaders and doers and makers. And, we provide the space and the platform, and people just come out and do it for the community and for something bigger than them.
I love it. And how do you decide what to bring to the space?
Sure. Yeah. So I usually like to say we're a yes organization. I would say 80% of our programming just comes from community members coming to us with an idea, and people come with the idea, and we 9 times out of 10 say yes and provide the volunteer support to make it happen.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It sounds so easy, but I'm sure it's a little more challenging than that. The
Definitely.
live music and Yeah, right? The live music and jam sessions, that alone must be huge to put together and coordinate. It seems like a very
Mhm.
big part of the identity. So what kind of experience do artists and audiences get when they come out?
Yeah, so it's a very interactive, immersive experience. A lot of the folks who are running the classes and courses are also participating. For anyone watching, if you have an idea, now's your chance to get involved and get in touch with us because we will make your idea happen. But it's really just a hands-on, community-driven, community-run deal. I like to quote Wayne's World, if you build it, they will come. And I really, truly believe that that's what's happening here.
Well, I'm going to do something old school. I thought we were going to have some pictures and we don't, but I have a tablet. So I'm going to do old school stuff. Let's see if I can zoom in. I'm doing this real old school. So that is your performance space. That's
Yeah, I
and that's
believe, yeah.
8 years ago. Wow. How long
Yeah,
have you guys been
that's
in
at the
operation?
yeah, that's the old space. We're no longer in the bank, but we're coming up this May is going to be 12 years.
That's awesome. And you know what? This is what makes a community different and special, right? Because
Mhm.
every community in America has a fast food place and a this and a that and a restaurant and a hotel. The arts are what carve out the niche and make a place different. New Jersey is so rich with its arts community. You also host an annual jazz series. And of course, New Jersey is like the epicenter for America for jazz. Tell us more about that and what people can expect this year.
Yeah, so that was another series that kind of came just from the idea of a volunteer. But basically, we have world class jazz artists from New York City, from internationally, really, and the whole idea behind that is you don't have to trek to New York City or Philadelphia to catch a really quality jazz show. You can just drive down the street or walk down the street and see it in downtown Flemington, and that's kind of the goal of that.
I love it. A lot of people don't realize that, like on Sirius XM, their Sirius XM jazz channels, all of them are run
Mhm.
from 88.3 Jazz 88 in Newark. That's carried
Mhm.
nationwide. My friend Mark is the guy in charge of that whole channel, and I think 7 different jazz stations. But think about it, it's from New Jersey and it goes around the country and around the world from here. It's not New York, it's not Greenwich
Mhm.
Village, it's not South Florida, it's not Detroit or Chicago. It is Newark. So that's
Yeah.
we have a very special place where we live. How can people become part of the Flemington DIY community, Jeff? What's an address, email address?
Yeah, I would you can visit flemingtondiy.org. You can email info@flemingtondiy.org, and we'll be in touch probably within the day and get things moving.
I love it. You are what makes New Jersey special, my friend. Jeff Hirsch, co-founder and executive director of Flemington DIY on Stangle Road in Flemington, a very rich part of the New Jersey community. Thank you, Jeff, for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. And it is coming up on 8:43 right now. When we come back, a new candidate entering the race for Elizabeth's 2nd Ward City Council seat. We'll introduce you when we come back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Monday. You're looking at a jet plane from several hours ago at LaGuardia Airport. The front of that jet sheared off. Both pilots were killed. This happened just before midnight. An emergency rescue crew on the ground rushing to help another jet collided with this Air Canada Jazz jet that had just landed. They collided on the runway, and you could see the jet had to be going over 100 miles an hour, the assumption is. And the fire truck was also going relatively quickly for that to happen, to shear off the front of the jet and kill those two pilots. 72 people had to be rushed to area hospitals, dozens still in hospitals in serious or critical condition. We'll keep bringing you updates on this throughout the day. In the meantime, LaGuardia Airport remains closed. 8:46 right now, and it's time to check the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
And Mike, we've had some serious heavy rain all night long in much of New Jersey. They had flooding rain in Hawaii. It's been, I mean, it's spring, right? This is the change of seasons, but it's pretty severe.
Especially given how we go from one extreme to the other. You know, a gorgeous 70-degree day with sunshine yesterday and over the weekend, and now so much colder this morning. Well, that's March for you, especially coming in with over 1.5 times the amount of rainfall we typically get throughout the month of March, and wrapping up the season with most places across the shore points and the beach locations out of a drought. Still a bit of a drought to the north and west, but even that will change as some more rain takes over this morning. The northern part of the state has finished up with the rain, already seeing some clearing there. And with the drier weather for the rest of the day, that's also going to be the case through the remainder of what's left of March as we wrap up the month with some abnormally dry conditions down across the southern part of the state, but warmer headed into April, slightly above average, not as hot as it's been out in the desert southwest with all of that heat spreading eastward from where it's been parked over portions of Southern California for the last week or so. Now we look forward to the milder weather into the next few days, especially by Thursday. Could hit 70 across some parts of the state before rain takes over later Thursday night into Friday morning, but clearing out by the upcoming weekend. Note, it's still chilly along the Atlantic, so the temperatures reflect that at the shore, with temperatures only climbing into the 40s this upcoming weekend at the beaches, Ken.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for the forecast and all the expertise for the day. We know you're busy, have a lot to do here, sir. So thank you. We'll check back with you mañana. Enjoy the rest of your day. It is, you bet, 45 degrees in northern New Jersey, 47 degrees in Trenton. Let's take a look at 287 right now, if we can. This is 287 northbound. This is as these vehicles are heading into what we have as a tractor-trailer fire. So the tractor-trailer fire is northbound, north of exit 59, Route 208, Franklin Lakes. The right lane of 2 lanes closed. We are right here. We're about 1.5 miles to 2 miles shy of that point. And you could see the slowdown heading into it. We have a crash on the Garden State northbound south of exit 89A now, Route 70 east in Lakewood Township. All lanes are open. Disabled bus on Basilone Road in both directions at South Directory Road in Elizabeth. All lanes are open, but two-way traffic has been moved over to just the eastbound lane. So you can go one lane in either direction in what would have been the 2-lane eastbound lane. We have a tractor-trailer fire. And this is on the New Jersey Turnpike northbound north of Interchange 1 at the Delaware Memorial Bridge in Oldman's. Right lane and shoulder currently blocked. Your Holland and Lincoln Tunnel approaches right now. The Holland is going to cost you 40 minutes in. If we have the 495 cam, we could show this, Pam. This is 495 approach to the Lincoln Tunnel by the Helix, and this is an absolute mess. There was a breakdown earlier on the Helix, and that's causing residual delays. So you could see the damage is done. The bus lane's still a good way to go. You see the buses are moving, but the cars don't get that privilege of taking that bus lane, the dedicated bus lane. So it's going to cost you 45 to 50 minutes in that way. And if we go over to the GWB, that's been a mess all morning, 45 to 60 minutes in upper and lower levels GWB. Just an absolute jamming mess, 45 to 60 minutes in. It is 8:50 right now on your Monday morning. A new candidate is entering the race for Elizabeth's 2nd Ward City Council seat. I'm going to venture it's Isaias. Am I right? You can nod because I could see you.
Absolutely.
No? Or
yes,
Isaiah?
Isaiah
It is.
Spanish.
Okay.
Yep.
Porque mi madre viene de Argentina, yo puedo hablar español. That's why.
Ah,
Otherwise, anyone else
Argentina,
would say,
pues. Ok. Mira,
sí,
che, pues.
claramente. Otherwise, people would say Isaiah. It's Isaias J. Rivera, a current member of the Elizabeth Board of Education. He's officially announced his candidacy as Councilman Nelson Gonzalez prepares to step down after years of service. We say good morning to Isaias.
Good morning, good morning. I'm glad to be here with you.
And glad to have you on. I'm sure you probably had your whole life. Is it Isaiah? What's your name? I'm sure you've had that.
Isaiah with an
But
H or Isaiah, yes. Yeah, I've heard it all.
I'm sure. And I'm Kenneth. Kenneth is my name. My whole life, I don't know why people call me Kevin. Kevin and Kenneth don't even look alike, whatever, except they start with a K. You get used to it. You don't want to be rude. You just nod and smile, right? But I will pronounce
Correct.
it Isaias, as your mom gave you that name. So there you go.
Absolutely, yep.
So what made you running for city council, especially in a city like that? That's a lot. So what made you decide to take this step?
Yeah, thank you for asking me that question. Well, for me, Elizabeth has given me and my family an opportunity. I was raised here on Bayway, and believe me, I've seen both the challenges and as well as the opportunities and potential we have in our ward. So, Ken, for more than a decade, I've been helping residents with employment. I've been working with our small businesses, and so I've been in multiple leadership roles in the Planning Board, Elizabeth Board of Education, and now I'm ready to take that experience to City Council so we can have economic growth, safer and cleaner neighborhoods, and at the same time, making sure our residents have a voice that is being heard. So it's opportunity that changed my life, and I'm ready to give that for others.
What are some of the key issues that impact the second ward of Elizabeth specifically?
One of the things that I've noticed is, and which is one of my priorities, is economic growth. When you can help a family, when you can help an individual find a job or secure a business, you're providing that financial stability. There's a lot of residents that need that help. I've been working firsthand with them. So that's certainly a priority of mine so we can have more job fairs, better employment access, and connect them with our small businesses so that we can all work together.
It's tough. And politics today is very, very tough. And the funny thing is, I know people who are Democrats in New Jersey, but yet politically they're pretty conservative. But because New Jersey's sort of a one party state now, it's kind of become, that. So I know, like even in New York, I know members of the New York City Council who are 30-year Democrats, but yet anywhere else in America they would be Republicans. But because you can only kind of run in one party in New York City, you have this flavor of Democrat and that flavor. Do you find the same thing in New Jersey now, especially in Elizabeth?
Yeah, especially Elizabeth. Elizabeth is primarily Democrat. We've been a Democratic town for many of years, and that's what people really resonate with. But you are right. It's not so much of a Democrat all the way to the left. It's more Democratic in the conservative side. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, because you're dealing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, step on you. You're dealing with hometown issues, right? The down home people go to work, take their kids to school. These are the day-to-day issues. We're not talking about necessarily the big national stories. We're talking about these are folks who want a home to come home to, crime down. They want a nice neighborhood. And now you are succeeding a longtime councilman, a legacy. So how do you plan to build on his legacy while also bringing your own vision and making this your own role?
Absolutely. Our councilman, Nelson Gonzalez, he has served for 20 years. And he's someone that I've actually admired and respect. Just a quick funny story. When I was committeeman, I remember talking to the councilman. I said, Councilman, I want to get more involved. I want to be more involved with the community. Just let me know. And then shortly after that, he gives me a call. He says, well, there's actually a family that needs our help. And so I was with the councilman, and we were visiting this family. And as they're expressing their issues, without getting into details, they really needed help. But I saw firsthand how he took notes, how he was listening, how he was helping. And then weeks later, that family invited us, and they had like a dinner for him. They were just so grateful. And for me, that was the first time I saw how impact works at a grassroots level. And that's the kind of level that I want to do. I want to continue to build that of what our councilman has done before.
You mean an elected official actually serving the people? Stop it. Stop it. What's wrong with you? You're living in a bygone era. That's a beautiful thing. And it actually does my heart good to hear that. And I've had politicians in my family, and I know how hard they worked. And you do have kind of two grades of politician. The one politician who does what he did and what I know you want to do. And then you have the other politician who only takes that step because they want to go to this office and this office and this office. And there is a difference. The fact that Gonzalez did that seat for 20 years and only did that seat for 20 years tells me Gonzalez just wanted to serve his community, which says a lot. It's a very special person. So community engagement is a big part of your message. How do you plan to stay connected then with residents and address their concerns? Because sometimes you can't always help everybody.
Yeah, it's you can't help anyone, but at least you ever heard the saying, you can't help everyone, but you can help someone. It's really being accessible. When I'm working with families, especially when I'm sitting down with them, helping them find work and employment, it helps me stay connected. So for me to be connected with our community is really being able to listen, having access, and making sure that their voice is heard. And that's one way that I want to stay more involved and engage. Just yesterday, I was talking to a resident. I was knocking on his door, introducing myself. And he's like, Isaiah, you are the first person I've ever spoken to that has even asked me what my opinion is for this neighborhood. So it's things like that that I want to improve upon.
And let's remind everybody that Newark Airport, I put in air quotes, is in Elizabeth, not
It's
in
Elizabeth,
Newark,
yeah.
right? It's Elizabeth's property. So that's very cool. By the way, when I worked at Channel 7, and I was there for 20 years, do you know what famous person from Channel 7 is born and raised in Elizabeth? I'm
No, I don't
testing you.
know.
Now you could bring this up at a council hearing or maybe honor him because he's a really nice guy. N.J. Burkett. N.J.
Oh,
Burkett, the
Burkett.
famed N.J. Burkett, who lives on Long Island now, he's born in Elizabeth. So
Oh, look at
that's
that.
where he's from. So you guys should have an N.J. Burkett Day and honor him. I'm sure
Yeah,
he
we
would.
got to honor him. Absolutely.
He's a great guy, and I'm sure he would love that. So he is running for city council in Elizabeth's 2nd Ward. Isaias J. Rivera, thank you for coming on this morning. Please promise you'll come back again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet, and best of luck to you, Isaias. All right. It is now 8:57. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says light rain early, could be heavier in some spots. Breezy, mix of sun and clouds later in the afternoon. Highs mid to upper 40s. And that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Monday, March 23rd, 2026. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you could stay at onj.com for updates on the crash at LaGuardia Airport. Have a good day.